Okay, here's one for you. I went to this restaurant last week that sells free-range chicken, which the way I understand it is a message to the consumer that this chicken was not abused in any way by being cooped up. In fact, now that I think about it, we got the expression cooped up from chickens, right? Chickens live in coops. When we feel like chickens, we say we're cooped up. But we're also the first civilization in history to coop the chicken, then identify with the chicken by saying that we're cooped up, then decide that the chicken shouldn't be cooped up anymore because the chicken is probably exactly like us. Are you following this? In other words, we want the chicken to live an extremely happy, healthy, and carefree life right up until the moment when we hack its head off with a hatchet. I pointed this out to the waiter. He said, all of our chicken is free range. And I said, he doesn't look very free there on that plate. But of course, he didn't understand what I was talking about. Listen to me. It's a chicken. You can put him in a cage and tell him he's got a lot of space, and he'll believe you. If you wanted to, you could put up a picture of the Mojave Desert on all the walls of his pen, and even if he only had 2 feet of space, he'd think he was running thousands of miles. I repeat, it's a chicken. His brain is smaller than an amoeba. Not only that, what good does it do to let the chicken run around on the free range? All that means is that he can put any disgusting thing he wants to in his mouth, and then you end up eating it next week with your poulet a la Sauterne Palermo. Chickens will eat anything. Chickens will eat each other. Chickens will eat their own. Let's just not dwell on what chickens will eat. It's not like the chicken is going to be out there dancing the achy breaky heart, you know. I've never seen chickens actually exercising or anything. Free range. It sounds like they're chickens that sail across the prairie like Camaros on the interstate. You know, chickens have legs like pipe cleaners with pasta hanging off the back. You could stuff a chicken in a cereal box and the chicken would get more exercise just from pumping its legs like a bicycle racer trying to get out of the box. If you could get a chicken to run 2 miles, it would do it by jumping 1 foot at a time, stopping, eating some crud off the ground, then jumping 1 more foot. Why couldn't the chicken just jump from one side of the cage to the other side of the cage, get the same aerobic benefit? In other words, it's a chicken. It's a gall-darn chicken. Don't people read the World Book anymore? God. Speaking of baffling modern trends, Halloween 3 is coming up now for obvious reasons. You know, we're less than a week away from the big hoo-ha spook night. But to tell you the truth, I've got problems with this flick. When you think Halloween, what do you think? Splatter City, right? All-time classic of the drive-in screen. We're talking the original Jamie Lee Curtis, creepola with a butcher knife, hypodermic in the eyeball, barf on the floor mats, showstopper. We're talking a movie where anybody can die at any moment. So I have the following questions. Numero uno, where the hell is Donald Pleasance? How can we have believable corpses in a Halloween flick unless Donald shows up 30 seconds after they die and says, you don't know what you're dealing with here, only I can stop him? Numero two-o, where the hell is Jamie Lee Curtis? And I know if we can't have Jamie Lee Curtis because she's off making indoor bull stuff somewhere, then where is the other little nympho who provides the raw meat for the slasher? We've got a tradition here to uphold. Numero three-o, where is the slasher? Where is Michael Myers, the guy with white stuff smeared on his face who walks around breathing like a hemicuda and picking up spear guns that people leave laying out in their yard? If this guy's not in the movie, I'm sorry, people, it's not a sequel to Halloween. That's all right. I'm going to vent later. I don't even want to get started right now. I'm already mad about the free-range chicken thing, but we'll talk at the breaks. What we've got here is 9 dead bodies, 15 zombies, 2 breasts, which Ted, of course, made us edit out for TNT, so you won't see those, a little zombie kickboxing, exploding car, fingers through the eyeballs, drunk who gets his head ripped off, a lasered fat woman, hands roll, arms roll, and yes, heads roll, 2 stars, and I'm being generous with the 2 stars. So check it out, and I'll see you at the first break. Gosh. Now, the people who make Friday the 13th, they've got integrity. They made the exact same movie 8 times. These Halloween jerkolas, they went Hollywood on us. They got stoked up on cocaine or something, forgot their roots, and get this. The flick is not even in Haddonfield, Illinois anymore, where it belongs. It's in some wimp jerkola town in California. Can you believe that? Excuse me while I take a moment to be appalled. Tom Atkins as the doctor. Tom Atkins is the star of this movie. Can you believe this? Not Jamie Lee Curtis. Not Jamie Lee Curtis's little sister. Not the third cousin twice removed of Jamie Lee Curtis. The hero is not even a female. You can't even do that in a horror flick. It's against the rules. Okay, so people are setting themselves on fire and blowing themselves up. Big deal. And nothing against you, Tom. If you're watching this, fine job on the movie. It's just that you'll see. Stacy Nelkin is the hot little number who jumps into the sack with our hero. But you know what we've got here? We've got a direct ripoff of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Only instead of Kevin McCarthy and Dana Winter, we've got Tom Atkins and Stacy Nelkin. Not quite the same deal, you know? But now they're in the creepy town, blah, blah, blah. They're going to find out the secret of the Halloween mask, blah, blah, blah. Track down who killed her father, blah, blah. This is basically turning into a murder, she wrote. Okay? Go ahead, let's get it over with. Those are some very gross effects that got by the TNT censors tonight. I'm proud of you guys. Thumbs up. We had the head ripped off the spine of the wino. We had the fat lady's face getting chewed off by the laser thingy. Flies crawling out of her mouth. That was a bonus. Outstanding, guys. And you know, I like to think that my presence here on Monstervision played a small part in bringing to you, the audience, those incredibly disgusting moments. I don't like to brag, but the first night I was on TNT, Michael Caine said the F word twice during our broadcast of The Hand. The editors, see, they didn't want to rile me up. They knew not to mess with me. They knew that I've got standards. Okay, here comes the head sleazeball, revealed for the first time. Roll the film. Normally, I don't like to pat myself on the back. Because, for one thing, you have to bend your elbow in a funny way and it looks stupid. Bionic gore. If all those people in the factory aren't really people, what difference does it make when they get parts of their bodies ripped off? It's just a bunch of springs and wires and stuff. There's that one fairly decent scene where the zombie puts a power drill through the nurse's ear, but there's not any gurgles, there's no gasps, no moaning, no screaming. If you think about what would happen if somebody drilled you through the ear, it'd probably be kind of a squishy sound. Well, you probably wouldn't hear much after it actually went in, but after the steel popped through the skull, squishy sound. Then if he twisted it around inside like the zombie does, it'd probably gush blood like one of those instant modern art twirling paint machines at the state fair. That'd be my guess. But see, we'll never know now, because the people who made this movie are not artists. Okay, back to the flick. Hey, I'm Joe Bob Briggs with the Monstervision Mail Girl, and I want you guys to listen up. You've got 3 ways to get in touch with us. The first way is you can write to us at 1010 Techwood Drive, Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318. You can also email us, joebob@turner.com. Now, some of you turkeys were writing this address on an envelope. That doesn't work. The third way is we have a website. I have no idea what a website is, but the address of it is www.tnt-tv.com. You have anything to say, honey?
I know what a website is.
Well, good for you. Write to us. Nothing nasty now.
Don't miss Monstervision with host Joe Bob Briggs and Honey, the TNT Mail Girl. Friday nights only on TNT.
All right, this is the only good part of this flick, in my opinion. The bad guy, played by Dan O'Herlihy, and he's quite a decent bad guy. He's rigging all the Halloween masks with detonators so that every kid in America is going to get his head squashed into Jell-O on Halloween night. Now, if we go by the test kid that we just saw, we've got eyes lasered out of sockets, followed by bugs crawling out of the mouth, and then rattlesnakes crawling out of the insides of the body and eventually eating the parents. I thought the kid did a good job, didn't you? Very convincing. All right, forward. Let's kill some rugrats. How about it? Shoot, I didn't mean to do that. Part in the whole movie, though. Anyhow, I love that speech that the old man makes, explaining the old Celtic sacrificial rites, something about our wattles and clay. I don't know what he was saying, but it sounded great. And now for the conclusion of Halloween 3, the one that has no Jamie Lee Curtis, no Donald Pleasance, and worst of all, no Michael Myers, but we do have exploding Halloween masks. That's what we've got here. All righty, roll it. One color. On August 15th, the water turned a different color. People are upset about it. The Pakistani families won't even go there anymore. Well, you work for the city. You figured out. I'm out of it. Good grief. Well, anyhow, I'm happy to report that fortunately for the history of horror films, Halloween 3, which we just watched, was a big box office disappointment. So when they made Halloween 4, Michael Myers was back and Donald Pleasance was back. Mustafa Akkad, the producer of that series, learned his lesson the hard way. Okie dokie, at this point I would like to introduce the luscious and lovely TNT mail girl. You know what? I didn't see you last week, honey. Where were you?
Cancun.
Cancun.
Yeah, you know, it's in Mexico.
I know it's in Mexico, so you just took a trip down to Cancun?
Yeah, and it was fun.
That must have, you know, cost a lot of money to go down there.
I don't know. Somebody else paid for it.
Somebody else paid. All right, I don't want to know anything else. Don't say anything else. Drop that subject entirely. Don't even mention Cancun. Why didn't you even... You shouldn't have even brought that up.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing.
This should make you feel better, okay? Some more of those boys down in jail likes you. You know what I mean? I think you do. This one's from Chris Phillips. It's Spencer, Tennessee. I can't...
Spencer, Tennessee. What's up, Joe Bob? My name is Chris Phillips, also known as Yankee. Me and my fellas watch your show every Friday night. We don't have much else to do. We're in Spencer County Jail in Tennessee. Don't get me wrong, but we would like to be at the bar for last call. We don't much care what they look like anymore. We're all in here for DUIs. Our time ranges from 4 months to 8 months. You put a new spirit in old movies. We sit back and get a kick out of your subtle humor. You're one of a kind, Joe Bob. You hear this? If you could, would you bring us up on your show? You see, Joe Bob, we're one of your most captive audiences. We got a kick out of what you said about your third wife. She sounds like a good girl. Could you send her up to the jailhouse? Tell her to bring her pig head. Your friends doing time, Chris, Don, Rick, Tom, Scooter, Jeff, and Chuck. Okay, guys, look, I don't know how long you boys been in jail, but I guarantee you, you do not want to meet my third ex-wife. If you met her on the outside, you'd go back to jail. There's Turkish sailors that have been out at sea for 8 months who won't go near her. She's not the kind of thing that you want to look at the next morning, I'm telling you, especially you guys that are doing whiskey time there in the jail. You have a blackout, end up with her, it could cost you $5,000 before you get your truck back. You know what I mean? I think so. You know what I mean, don't you, hon?
No, I'm still trying to figure out why you, hate Cancun.
I don't hate Cancun. I hate the idea of Cancun. You said the word Cancun. I started getting ideas about what goes on in Cancun, and it started to drive me nuts.
So what, then you hate Mexicans?
No, I don't hate Mexicans. If you have to know, I hate the idea of you going to Cancun. I hate the idea.
Well, you're not very nice.
All right. All right. Who'd she go with? One of you guys knows who she went with, right? Why is the second camera guy staring at his shoes? What? It's somebody in this building, isn't it? Dang, you guys, you were not going to say a word to me, were you? Cancun was the secret the whole time? I could have paid for that. You get those $79 weekend pina colada packages, whatever those things are. Too late now. All right, I'm not going to think about it. What we're going to do is we're going to watch the next flick, which is called Burnt Offering, starring Oliver Reed and Karen Black and Betty Davis. And we're going to have what's known as a cooling off period here while I send jackbooted thugs among the crew to gather information. And what we got here is a typical suburban family rents a big old summer house, and there's an old lady living in the attic, and some really, really strange stuff starts happening. Kind of a traditional haunted house flick, but with a big budget. And I won't tell you what happens because I don't want to give it away, and also I'm not sure what happens. But the totals are 3 dead bodies and a lot of creepy noises and strange occurrences. And that's about it. 2.5 stars. Check it out. I'll be sitting right here. And Mexico. Mexico. I thought it'd be someplace like, I don't know, Florida. Mexico would have been easy. Pesos, they're great. Here's $1. They give you like 9,000 pesos.